You're out with friends. Energy is high, music is loud, smoke hangs in the air, lights flashing everywhere. It feels electric. But slowly, it also starts getting overwhelming. You need some air, you need a break. You then head to the toilet with a couple of friends. After doing what you had to do in the cubicle, you all end up in the crowded smoking area for a quick cigarette. You then squeeze through the bodies, looking for a spot to rest. At the back, there's a bit more space, so you sit down with your friends and finally breathe. A few minutes later, your best friend joins you with someone she just ran into, an old acquaintance, an iconic DJ from the Brussels nightlife scene. You all start chatting. The conversation quickly drifts from small talk to personal stories, and the DJ mentions she doesn't play in certain venues anymore. Too much racism, too many unsafe situations, too many things ignored. And that makes you wonder, how do systemic violences actually take place in Brussels nightlife scene?
Hello everyone, thank you for coming, tuning in, joining us. We are gonna welcome to Safer Hours, the discovery of Brussels nightlife for our third episode. And so today we are going to try to answer that question: how do systemic violences take place in Brussels nightlife? And for this, I'm joined with two amazing people, Sasha and Unos. I'll leave them do their own presentation. And I'm going to sit down.
So, hi everyone, I'm Sasha. I'm George's friend, but I'm also part of the Brussels nightlife as a partygoer, and also I had the chance to participate to the organization of several events. I think I have knowledge on the scene, and that's why I'm here.
And Unos?
Hi everyone, my name is Unos Steffi. I'm a producer DJ based in Ghent. I've been I just noticed this year, about 10 years in the scene, so I've been around for a bit. And I'm very happy that you've invited me here to share some of my experiences and the things that you've noticed, and so, and also listening to Sasha about your experiences as well.
I'm very happy as well.
Well, I'm super happy to have you both. So really, thank you for coming. And for people that don't know why I do this podcast, is because I'm doing my master thesis about safer spaces in nightlife in Brussels. And so this podcast allows me to broaden my research. And because I'm doing this in the scope of my master thesis, I'm always trying to put back some knowledge or theory or historical context around the subjects we talk about. And so today, since we talk about systemic violences in techno scene specifically, or music electronic scene, but anyways, I feel like it's important to go back to the basis where techno came from. And so in my research, I found an article called Race, Class and Place in the Origins of Techno and Rap Music, written by William Tsitsos. And so in this article, he explains loads of stuff, but also the origins of techno and why the techno was created by the people that created it. And so, as many of you know, techno, or not maybe, was created in Detroit in the 80s by marginalized communities. Because in the 80s, a big economic crash happened in the city, and citizens completely abandoned the city center to live in the suburbs of the city. And so it left the city in almost a state of a ghost town. And this emptiness and decay left a space for creation, innovation, community building for the people that stayed or that decided to live there. This was the case of the famous Belleville Tree, which was 3 DJs that met in high school and then and grew up in a mostly white suburb of 50 kilometers from the city, from Detroit, called Belleville. Those 3 guys, some are problematic, but anyways, they created the genre. And so they went back to live in the city, influenced by the history of the city, Chicago house, and European experimental experimental electric. It's gonna be fine. Experimental electronic music from Europe. They created techno. And so for the author of the article, it provided a way for them to both symbolically and literally imagine themselves into the future. And so yeah, this music was created in illegal raves and parties around the city by communities creating safer spaces for themselves, spaces to be free and out of the systemic violence and collapse of the city that surrounded them. And these communities were black and queer. And so now today and for the last decades, techno and electronic music in general have been widely appropriated by white, straight and rich communities. And so this appropriation has led the communities who created the genre to be excluded and discriminated against from the spaces they initially created to as a survival tool. And if we take it back to Brussels, you just have to go out to a techno club in the city to see that the public is almost 100% white and for a large part straight, at least in the nights created by the clubs and not by specific collectives, like queer collectives and stuff. There have been some studies and experiments in the city to see how widely like racism and stuff happen in the city, and so there's one by MRAX they did last year, and it showed that at the entrance of almost all these spaces, black people were getting refused entrance, whereas white people were let in. And so with this in mind, I'm asking you the question of in your personal and professional experiences, have you ever experienced or witnessed discrimination during your nights out?
Well, yes, of course. I've been seeing this like for years, like since I'm black actually, but it was like in various way. I had the chance to not experience it that much, because and that's where intersectionality is hard to say. Intersectionality plays in a funny way, because before I transitioned, so I was just seen as a visible gay man. So yes, sometimes it happened that I was like refused to enter, either because I was black or because I was a visible gay person, like acting effeminate, etc. Sometimes because of both. And after I transitioned, like it almost never happened. Okay. So yeah, interesting, because like I benefited from like the male gaze from the bouncers, and also the pretty privilege in some ways.
Face card never declines.
The face card never declines, like literally. And where like I have like some other friends, cis black men, who were refused to enter because yeah, they were black men. They were like considered scarier than me. Like even before I transitioned, I wasn't considered as a threat. So people were always let me in, and yeah.
Okay, and you, Unos, do you have like a similar experience or completely different?
I grew up in Sint-Niklaas, so that's a very interesting spot because it's very green or very Vlaams Belang.
Yeah.
So my last, like, not per se like discrimination, but like racist encounter was like there's a venue that's many years ago, and it was at a venue called the Casino. My friend Black Mamba, she had a party.
Yeah.
I was standing outside with my friends to have like a breather, and then in the back of my head is like, oh, it's Brussels here or what? And then like I made a joke, oui, c'est Bruxelles ici, haha, just to diffuse the situation.
And tone it down, yeah.
And then the guys started berating me, je vuile kakchinees. And they're like doing like terrible things, and I'm like always so angry when I see this. yeah, like when you grow up in this kind of environment, you learn to have a very thick skin.
Yeah.
In the sense, like as a teen, I used to have like physical altercations as well. I was really not afraid to fight the racists or the bullies. So yeah, it's just like you learn how to protect yourself. You learn like at my school, I had a reputation to not be fucked with because I will hit you. But yeah, it's just it's a bit sad that it's the case. But like I'm happy where the spaces where I am now at. It's almost not existent anymore. So like I'm very selective where I'm going. So voila.
Okay, nice. Well, super interesting, like both backgrounds, and you both said that, of course, as a person of color, you've always experienced like violences and discrimination. But has there been like a specific moment in your life, or like, yeah, an event, a specific event that acted as a turning point for you in your awareness of systemic violence? In nightlife, but yeah, not just like I'm getting discriminated against, but understanding the globality of those discriminations.
Like I don't really have a special event in mind, like because as we said, like it's something that we've always experienced. So you just learn how to have a fix it, how to navigate also, like. But yeah, the more you grow up and the more also your point of view change and your experience, because also you're a different person every day. Like the person I was yesterday is not the same today, and also the places I'm going to. Like I had like I'm gonna say the chance, but yeah, I had the chance actually to go to all kind of places, like really different, and in all those places, like you never like feel totally safe from the moment that from the moment when you are one of the only one, one of the only one black person, one of the only visible queer person, and so on.
Yeah, for myself, yeah, it's an accumulation of different experiences. It's not just like one thing, and it's just you learn to be hyper aware of your surroundings. You learn how to adapt. You learn how to accommodate, to be like a very well adapted person of color in a very white society. And it's just all survival, is being like used to adapt and change. And for me, yeah, there was not a specific turning point, but I do try to be aware of like it's like who can afford entering those spaces, like who is being represented, who's on the lineup, how does it feel like to be at the door, who is working there. So yeah, for me it's just like we can romanticize clubs and so, but if it's a reflection of the current society that is not helpful for us or like including us, then it's should be worked on, so
yeah. And you both talked about the spaces you are going to, and I was wondering what makes you, because you told like about the entrance, like the visibility of POCs and like in those spaces, like what are the elements you seek out to decide if you want to go to a party or another, or if you as a DJ want to play at a party or accept to play at a party? What are the specifics of the criteria that a party has to meet for you to be like, okay, well, I'll go there?
Well, for me, as long as I'm well surrounded, like I'm with my friends, I can go anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, first of all. But yeah, there is some criteria. Like I know I can go alone, for example, to C12 for Umi, because they have queer-centered values. Like I will less go alone to Fuse, or La Fabrique. I can go alone, for example, like because they also have like those queer-centered values, like no violence, no discriminations. I know if I report something, somebody will help me. There is a care team too. Like care team is one of the points also, but when Unos was talking also about the endlinings, like just that you see that the party will not be a reflection of you or the diversity of the society, but you learn to live with actually. So at the end, I don't see a good solution. I just see survival tools.
Yeah, myself, I'm queer, I'm racial, I'm an artist, I'm a cultural worker, and so at least what I can do is be aware about my situation or the context I am in. So yeah, for me it's important to check who's the lineup, what's the history of the venue from the booker. If I'm being booked, like, am I the only one? Like, am I being considered as we're gonna put
Yeah.
Unos, and then we're very diverse. That's also sometimes a bit tiring, and but I'm very, like, I've been playing for a while. I've been here already for like 10 years or so, and people already know my reputation. And then I'm like, I even say to my bookers, like, yeah, no, this is not for me, or I leave it out. And also, like, for me to go to like certain spaces is like, who's playing, you know. If my friends are playing, then I will come support them, so I know I'm being well surrounded. So
Okay, I see. And for you both talk about the programmation, and how can you make, like, as a person of color, or a queer person and stuff, a marginalized community person, how can you tell the difference between a genuinely inclusive programming and tokenism of POCs or queer people?
yeah, for me it's just like, if it's just the first party, then yeah, you're setting the identity as a collective or as a concept. But if it's like your previous parties are only, like, let's say, white headliners or like all men, and suddenly, okay, we're gonna diversify, and then like you're adding like POC artists, and most of the time we're always like opening or closing.
Yeah.
So that's also like something, like, I understand if you're at the beginning of your career, so that's really normal. But yeah, it's just like it's again context, you know. It's super important, like, and also, like, for me it's important that if you do invite artists from like different heritage, that you should also know, like to always include them, that we're never an afterthought, you know.
Yeah.
It should be integrated inside the core values already of the collective, of the party. That it's not like,
Yeah, that should be just add-ons.
yeah, or else it's just window dressing. You're just window dressing.
Yeah, exactly. If you organize, like, for example, a party with a lot of I don't know, Latin or Afro influence, and all the DJs are white, for example, and the people there are white, for me, yeah, it's a problem. Even if there is one DJ, like, who is part of that culture, it's tokenism. But if, like, several DJs are not, and also you adapt to the prices, because we have to say that most of the time people of color don't really have the same, like,
Disposable income.
disposable income. So the fact that you have a high price, you exclude them, like, and you know that only white, like, the majority of the person will be white.
Yeah, like affordability can work as well as a filter, you know. Which is very
Yeah.
not so.
Yeah, and about, like, this subject about affordability and putting prices that allow these communities to enter your party. Like, as I said earlier, like, you can see, like, everyone is white in clubbing pretty much in Brussels, and so I was wondering in which ways, according to you, the Brussels electronic music scene has become more gentrified in recent years.
I think
What are the elements that? Yeah.
the elements for me are the headlinings. So yeah, when you program only white people to a party, like, you exclude another part of the population. Like, I know that for a long time I thought that techno was white people music, like, for a very, very long time. Even the first party, the first party I was, it was like the Rampage. It was more German based, and on 50,000 people, I just saw two black person on 15,000. And I was even more shocked when I learned that German bass comes from black music, black British
Yeah, yeah.
music.
Sound
Yeah.
systems and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So when you erase the history, when the European promoters and DJ diggers only book uh, um, white people, you change the narratives. So the people of African descent are even just people in color in general. They just think that techno German bass belongs to white people and we are not welcome. And yeah, that's how it happened. And also the prices, like the fact that the prices became higher and higher.
Yeah, that's why it's important to, for example, to have like community tickets. So like that you, or like give the option to people like, oh, I'd love to join the event, but I don't have the financial means at this point to join, but I would love to support. That's really important as well. Like, but yeah, again, like door policies. Again, yeah, having representation in your lineup.
In every step. So like also I feel like from my point of view that representation, yes, on the lineup, but also in the teams, in the workers of the
Yeah.
night. Like yeah, it's not just the face of the thing. It's like really, well, giving opportunities to people that have less money or less opportunities. Like really, yeah,
Yeah.
doing the work to really include these communities.
Yeah, you have to be inside to like be as a representative from your community to represent as well your community. You know, that's super important.
And Sasha, you talked about the history that you didn't know, literally, that techno music was like black music initially and queer music. And so how, like, would you have like ideas or like how, well, I'm just going to read my question. How can like this legacy and the history can be transmitted to newer, like new audiences and artists and like newer persons?
I don't really have a solution to how it can be transmitted, but what I know is that in Brussels, like there's a lot of new collectives growing up every day who are countercultures of like the capitalistic ways of partying. And those collectives, they're doing the job. Like, you don't really need to claim, oh, it was queer and black people music before. You just have to show it by keeping to transmit the values and to also to apply them by booking people. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I absolutely agree with this. It's just like, yeah, if you're going to use a culture or use anything that is from marginalized communities, you should always give credit where it's due. You know, like it's not something like all these different types of music are always out of survival, out of like imagining a different future or like giving sound to the space that you feel like you're very welcomed or like very happy or you feel community in. So it's just like you just have to be honest as well and educate yourself as well, and not saying like, oh look, being colonizer, like, hey, look what I discovered, and not giving any credit. It's just whack, you know.
Yeah. And about this, like more on the club side of things, clubs always have been promoting themselves as freer spaces and stuff, but systemic violences still happen in those spaces, and so would you say that or not that these violences are taken seriously by promoters and clubs and venues and institutions in Brussels?
So for promoters, I think they're taking it seriously only when they know that if they don't do it, they will lose money.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I felt, because after Balance ton Bar and Me Too and all of those events, we had like a big change here in Brussels. So people were less tolerant towards like discriminations of all kind and violences. So yeah, they had to put in the communications, we are freer spaces. But if you really want things change, I think the institutions should like do some controls, like like in the restaurants, like the AFSCA is doing, like and also the experience that the Emirates did by sending people to clubs to see if they are going to experience discrimination, and if they do, like the club can be sectioned, and if they don't, it's okay. But yeah, it's gonna give them a little stress also to
push them to do the right thing.
to push them to do the right thing. And care team should be mandatory also.
Yeah, it's just also like that's the thing, like especially now everything is more expensive, this and that. It's like, yeah, if your club or your venue has a bad reputation, then like, especially in our scene, we're way more vocal about like being a decent human being. So
which is politics, apparently.
Yeah, apparently having morals and taking care of people is, but yeah, it should be integrated in the core. Like you have to think you're dealing with people, you're dealing with different kinds of people, of walks of life. Why are they coming to your space? Most of the time, it's just to like have a breather, or like to tune out for a bit, or like to be more hopeful sometimes, like, oh, there are good people, there are good spaces where I can, recharge or find my community, and so yeah, it's just, you have to just take care of your people. I don't know, it's such a very basic thing, but I find it very fundamental, so.
Yeah. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, like, partying shouldn't be a source of stress. So yeah, it's supposed to be like those clubs are supposed to be a places where we can like totally like
let yourself go.
Yeah, let yourself go and forget your shitty life.
Yeah. And I'm gonna take it back like, from what you said at the beginning, Sasha. You talked about intersectionality, and we talked about the care teams and the fact that we have to include like prices, to have in mind prices, care in nightclubs, considering and like taking care of your crowd and stuff. And you talked about intersectionality. Yeah, it's pretty hard to say, anyways. And I feel like it's a super important concept that many people know about, but not that much actually, because I literally yesterday was with friends, and some people in the party like didn't know what intersectionality meant, and so I'm gonna do a little theoretical like info dump. And so the term intersectionality, fucking hell, was theorized by Kimberly Crenshaw in two major articles that she published in 1989 and 1991. The two of them, the first is demarginalizing the intersection of race and sex, and the other one is mapping the margins, intersectionality, identity politics, and violence against women of color. But she conceptualized the theory, but discussions and theories were already getting developed earlier, like in the 70s, for example, with the Combahee River Collective, which is a black and lesbian feminist collective, and for them, they were the first to say that the major systems of oppressions are interlocking. And then later, Angela Davis and Bell Hooks also wrote about these interlinks between violence as a system of oppression. Angela Davis with Woman, Race and Class in 1981, and Bell Hooks with her book And I a Woman, Black Woman and Feminism. And then in my research, I learned that there was like a super interesting sociological framework of analysis developed by Patricia Hill Collins in 1990, which is called the Matrix of Domination. And so it's the analysis of power dynamics and oppression through the distinction and the interlocking of four domains of power. So for people that want to like learn more about it, they can read the black feminist thought, knowledge, consciousness, and the politics of empowerment. But then, what is concretely intersectionality? The term describes how different systems of oppression, like racism, sexism, classism, ableism, or transphobia, don't operate independently from one another. Instead, they intersect and create specific experience depending on a person's identity and social position. And for example, a white woman or a black woman or a person of racialized woman may both experience sexism, but not in the same way, because race also shapes their experience. And so, yeah, as a concept, intersectionality and as a sociological framework of analysis helps us understand that there is no single universal experience or universal experience of oppression. And that like people live at the crossroads of multiple identities, and that these intersections produce different forms of privilege, marginalization, and violence. And in the context of nightlife, researchers show that this concept and its operationalisation, it's going to be easier in French, have been taken into account and put in place more through the queer and racialized spaces. And so I was wondering, do you feel like people are like doing the work of being intersectional in Brussels, or they're just tackling, for example, like you talked about Balance ton bar, they're just doing like gender-based violence and not like working on the racism and stuff? Like, what do you feel about Brussels? That was long, sorry. But I feel like it's important to talk about the authors and stuff. Anyways, so yeah.
So what is nice about Brussels is that we have collectives like Bestas, for example, or a little bit further there is Arst, we have Cherry Bomb, like we have all kinds of collectives that are doing the job like independently of the clubs, and that's why I'm thankful we have spaces like Body in Space or La Fabrique, where they can like freely do what they want. But yeah, in Brussels it's part of the common sense in the culture, but I don't think we can expect much from clubs.
Like more institutionalized clubs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, Unos?
Yeah, I think it's already something like, it's a bit sad to say. I'm really happy if they tackle one aspect.
Yeah.
But everything is just like, yeah, I can understand, like, you're hosting a club, you're trying to do the lineup, you're doing so many things already. But of course it should be in its core that you address as well, all these intersections as well. But yeah, it's just like, if your audience is mainly white, so then it's, you know, it's already going a certain direction. And like if a minority enters your space, that is again more like an afterthought than to see like. But yeah, it's just there are many layers to consider. But like what you said, there are already a lot of collectives that are already integrating it and already very aware about all the contexts and so. But yeah, it needs still a lot of work for sure.
Yeah, what should clubs do? Like it's a super broad question, I know, but like, yes, maybe some giving tips if like club owners listen to us.
At least have somebody of color in your working team, so this is already so they can share already their experiences or their own points of view about these topics. I think that is very important, because like if your whole staff is white, everybody like doing the creation is white, then it's hard to imagine how it would be, you know, because you only have one perspective, figure of speech, or a limited amount of perspective, but not like for us, you know.
Yeah, same as Uno said, like have somebody who's not white, or at least a queer person in your working team. But at the same time, I feel like if they want to have like their clubs being segregated, that's it. We can have our affinity spaces as well, and I think it works pretty good too, because we're not also like it's not an obligation like compulsory to force people to mix up when they don't want to, like and also for our safety, like for my safety I prefer to go somewhere where I know I'm welcome than somewhere where we force people to welcome me. And at the same time, like all my life I just learned also to like impose myself in places like I've always been in spaces where I was not expected to be, like a lot of queer people, POC people. So yeah, let's just do our affinity spaces.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just like again, it circles back to like the questions you asked, like where do you go as a party goer, like a DJ. It's again context. So
Yeah, and so affinity spaces, for the people that don't know, is in French espace en non-mixité, and so it's physical or digital environment where people gather based on in shared interests, goals, or identities rather than just demographics. And so yeah, you talked about how important it is to have these spaces and how like we have to create them. But some people might argue that focusing on creating this type of spaces could take out the importance of a global and systemic approach to tackling the issues of systemic violence. And so do you agree with this, or it's complete bullshit?
So it's complicated, like because sometimes I was like so I've already with Fasabat, for example, they did like an event where it was like affinity spaces without white people, and like I was like a little bit I feel a little bit awkward because I was like, imagine you're black, all your friends are white, and you want to go to that party, then your friends have to stay outside. Like it's not a good way like to change things. Like it's good to have our spaces, but it's better to just have our spaces with people who share the same values. Like that's what we've done with Conti Company. Like we have DJs from several backgrounds, several identities, and all on the same lines. Like, and what is nice, we have like two spaces. One with Afro music, Afro house music, hip hop, and a space with techno and all kinds of techno music. And when you see that party, like it's just beautiful because you see so many people from different backgrounds partying together, and they're here because they're sharing the same values of partying, like be yourself, come as you are, like respect the people, be kind, and just have fun.
yeah, I don't have anything specific to add to that because it makes sense, you know, like when you go to a party, you always have to understand in which context you're entering, you know, like you cannot, if let's say you're a straight woman who wants to go to a queer party, you have to understand it's not like a zoo or something like, oh, I want to have a queer experience or so, but you have to see like these are people who are trying to enjoy themselves, meeting their friends, you know, and yeah, it's just also just, yeah, again, just being aware of where you're entering, where you're going, and that's it actually for me.
Yeah, and I was wondering because you told about like you're not going to the zoo, and so I was wondering, have you ever experienced some kinds of fetishization, exotization, or other form of symbolic violences when you were out, or when you were even like performing as a DJ, or going like to clubs? Maybe you go international also. Like maybe are there difference between Brussels or other places? Like yeah.
Yeah, if you play in Flanders, I had to play at Pukkelpop. And at the end of my set, an older lady came to me. It's like, oh, I really loved your set. You're like the Flemish Peggy Goo. I'm like, we're not the same type of Asian even. Yeah. And I was like, okay, yeah, but that's why, like, I'm quite aware. Or if I go somewhere to play, I also check what is the political spectrum. Like if it's more right leaning, then I know the majority of people are going to be more right leaning. So I'm like, I try to avoid those spaces. But yeah, it's just in Brussels, I had never encountered this, but mostly like I get these things or these comments mainly in Flanders, and it's just like you tune out of it, it's like okay, but voila, it's like this sometimes. Voilà, yeah.
Okay. And you, Sasha?
So, for example, yeah, when I was partying, a lot of times I felt that I got a little bit too much attention. Because like people, the photographers and the videographers, like
You're always on all the posts.
exactly. Yeah, and sometimes like I really felt that they did that to have content to show that they are open-minded, you know, because there was not so much people like me in those parties actually. I had like, even like when I performed at Paradise, like literally I was shot every time I was on the big screen and stuff, but like the whole scene was only white people, and like there was a lot of people. But at the same time, like I chose to do that because I wanted to show like how we perform, how we party, like how we dance, how we move. I did the same when I was performing in Hasselt. Like it's not really like the best place in Belgium, I think, when you're a black and queer person. But at the same time, it was also a challenge. Like
putting yourself in spaces, as you said earlier, where you're not expected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Putting myself in spaces where I'm not expected.
Period. It's like, thank you for the work. And so because everything, all of everything we talked about is eminently political. Do you feel like some spaces that were political or should be political have left out that side of that work of being political and community, like building community and stuff?
So politics like never leaves the dance floor. First of all, never. Everything is political, and what I feel that is nice is that people are naturally gathering together to create spaces and to make community. Like it's really beautiful here in Brussels. You see like the permeability also between bubbles. Like everybody comes and goes from
one scene to another.
Scene to another, and they're sharing values, and yeah, we have beautiful things happening here thanks to that.
Yeah, this is something what I've really noticed in Brussels, and also like some friends who come from, for example, from France, they say like, yeah, Brussels is so alive. Also, there's so many groups of people who are very supportive. Like they're doing also what I really love about Brussels. Everybody's doing really cool shit, but they're like not being boastful or very egocentric of like, oh, I'm doing this, but like, yeah, they carry a lot of love and trust and willingness to share it. And also like there's a lot of cross-pollination, you know, like you support another collective, you go somewhere there, and then like, oh, I want you as well in my lineup. Or there's also, I feel there's a lot of openness here in Brussels, which I absolutely love. So
yeah, exactly. I have friends also, when they come to Brussels, they're like, wow, I feel like everybody's gay here. But why? Because we can like the fact that we are doing the stuff that we are imposing ourselves in the landscape, like it makes that for visible queer people and POCs, like Brussels is a pretty safer place than smaller cities are abroad. It's like a mini laboratory. I like to say that.
Yeah, and I think also like having spaces like GIMIC and like Kiosk Radio or different online radios where people who, let's say, not have like a big name yet or so, have these opportunities to share their music and also represent their collectives is such a big thing. And that's why like these kind of spaces like this one are so valuable as well. Like if it's not in a club context, it's a radio context, because like, yeah, like this is like a perfect example. When it's cold, people gather here, they chat, they come together, or it's warmer weather, they go, for example, to kiosk or whatever, and then you're creating like a little. It's inevitable, you know. Like you collect certain groups of people, and it's just it makes a beautiful breeding ground.
Yeah, even jungle is doing the job. Like really.
And you talked about safer spaces, and so I was wondering, in your point of view, do you think safer spaces policies are like in Brussels are doing enough to build this space? I'm losing my question, but do you think safer space policies are enough to address these issues? And do you feel like in Brussels they're doing it enough?
I think it should be really integrated in everything, you know, that safety starts with the individuals themselves. So like having proper training, every member of your team should have like a certain form of proper training. The people at the door, the crew. Also like even if you book people, they have to understand these are the values from the event itself, the promoter or like the collective, but also from the venue. It should be like something that should be consistent everywhere, like not said, oh, this is a list of items that you should be like cohering on, but like it should be integrated at its very core and not an afterthought, you know, because sometimes I do feel that's now currently an afterthought. But I see, like, I'm part of this group called Club Laat. So we do have a lot of conversations about safety and how can we integrate it, like how can we address, like, if a party ends at 5, what do we do with the people? How can they get safely home? Also during the event, what can we do, you know, like to educate people and so it's like every layer should be applied, yeah.
It's like if we kinda need a structure to act like a consulting agency for clubs.
I mean, there's some stuff getting built
Yeah.
backstage. I'm telling ya.
I felt it.
Because it's also really important to have like I've been asking around, like to have a proper reporting system.
Yeah.
Like if something happened, like what are the steps or what is the process to notify people, or like how can we address it? And that like to when you told in the very beginning, like clubs and venues are no more aware because they want to have a good reputation. It's just like it starts there already, you know. How do you report on site, off site, these things?
Maybe now that we have a government in Brussels, maybe we're gonna get some funds and create some good stuff. But yeah, so you talked about training and like very practically, what trainings should be put in place by clubs for their employees and stuff. Yeah, do you have like maybe some ideas, like of course safety and care and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I have my little list.
You have a list?
Yeah, so what do we have to do? Like, what I'm been as well active in the corporate life and stuff.
Yeah.
So most organizations, for example, have a code of conduct where you like have a listing of like all the values, what are like if there is bad behavior, what are the consequences, this and that. And it's just like there should be like transparency at the door. Also like talking about like a fair pay. The code of the conduct should be as well reinforced and reevaluated every few times. And also like what I find really important is like long-term commitments towards the community that you want to serve. So like all these things should be like important for me, I feel.
Yeah. Everything like the same you said, especially the proper like reporting system.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's really needed to give stress. Like
Yeah, it's just like if you act like a piece of shit, you will deal with the consequences.
yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. Well, let's try to create something like in the government, like yeah.
But it's fun.
Yeah, but I did see like in a few spaces where I think it was in the Netherlands that I saw that they do like have like a WhatsApp group. Do you in the toilets, for example, like do you feel unsafe? Text us here, and then you're getting notified, or like something stuff like this that's a bit more accessible at the moment.
And should this be like created by community or by institutions?
I think if it would be like, I would say institutions because they get funded and should be educated by the community and working very tightly with the community. So,
Period. It's late. We still have some time. Pum pum pum. I'm getting like I feel like I've asked all my questions. I don't know what to do. Shit. Like literally, we've went through pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. Maybe you want to add something?
I mean, did you ask the question? What still makes you want to go out? and
Yeah,
party?
literally. Fuck. I haven't put like highlighted it, so I forgot it existed. But yeah, what like since like you're like since you were born, anyways, getting discriminated against and stuff. Why do you still go out? What makes you still go out and have fun and like perform in nightlife?
I think speaking for myself, it's just like my obsession with music, and I love the bass in my body. Like if I put my music on full blast, my neighbors might not enjoy that. So that's why we have.
That's why we have clubs.
That's why we have clubs. But yeah, also like the collective energy of joy, sharing things, and like also discovering new music, and being able to support the things that you love, the collectives or your friends, and meeting new people, sharing ideas. Like this is also like I'm quite an introverted person, but I do go out a lot because like when I go out, I don't have to when I'm on the dance floor, I don't have to speak to people, but just like really enjoy and feel the energy, and that makes it very exciting for me. So yeah, it does a lot of things in my brain that I find a lot of joy in. So
I get that.
maybe that.
I'm really obsessed too with the music, the vibrations. Like, do really feel joy on the dance floor when I'm literally expressing myself with all my body, with no judgment around. Like, because like most of the time you're all judged, and on the dance floor it's the only space
where
we're not judged at all, and where you don't judge people. The energy, especially when also like the DJs literally playing with your mindset, with your mood, and you feel like in kind of trance, like a trance state of mind. And especially for somebody who was overthinking a lot, like me, the dance floor is the only.
I get that.
The only moment like my mind is not thinking at all.
Do you feel the same?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's just like, for example, when I play, I'm really into the music. Like I try to
hyper focusing,
and then just like the idea, like the medium is the massage. It's just like, but you are from when I play, you are the medium of the music. You are transferring. How do you feel? How do you reciprocate? How can I share the energy that I feel or the love that I feel towards the people I'm playing? So it's also just such a beautiful sharing moment, and I love to share music. So like for me, like I'm very happy if people ask me, oh, what is the idea? I will just share, like I'm just excited always to talk about music or play music, and so voila.
And to end the conversation, what would like the ideal like inclusive nightlife look like to you?
Well, I think it's like everybody is aligned on the same like wavelength, on the same frequency, wavelength, like mentally understanding the concept, understanding respecting the full lineup, like going from the opener to the closing, like that everything feels like it just feels right, where an explanation is not per se needed because you inherently understand each other. I feel then it's like it's just when I feel the more you have to explain, it loses sometimes its power, let's say. But like if you already understand from the core, then it makes sense, like that's why I'm really happy, for example, like when you have your door policy, like you're explaining what space you're entering, but like for the people who go to like events who already know it, it's like it's a no-brainer. So the more like if you understand each other like this, then the better, I guess.
And you, Sasha?
Exactly, it's like Uno said, the fact that the values are really integrated both by the promoters and the people. Like for me, one of the best example I have, it's like Horst. Horst is really amazing. It's beautiful. Like everybody is full love. Even gay is like gay is.
The gays.
The Canty company also we're doing the job very well.
But yeah, actually, do you want to like have shout outs like for future projects or stuff? So you have Canty company. Do you have some stuff, Unos?
Like upcoming projects
Yeah.
or so. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna do my first club night in a very long time.
Oh, sweet.
At Club Wintercircus.
Okay, cool.
And the concept is called the space between.
Winter Circus?
It's in Ghent.
Yeah.
So,
I saw it
yeah.
on socials.
So
Sweet.
it's like the concept is called the space between. So like when people ask me, what do you play? Oh, it's between this and that. Like for me, it's like an evening or a concept where not per se one genre has been highlighted, but like it's a fabric. It's like a collage of different things, different people, different understandings, and how can we make a coherent energy as well. So for me, like all those transitioning, the spaces between those things, where the magic happens, you know. So I'm really happy with the lineup because it's my dream lineup. Essentially, like we have Xiaolin she played recently, for example, at Draaimolen. She plays like violin live and stuff. For this set, it's going to be vinyl. Then we have Xiao, really established icon from Canada, Chinese. And then we have somebody from Brussels, Yeye. I've known her for a while, great student of mine before, but like I'm really happy she's like, I was okay, I'm happy she's doing well, and then yeah, I'm gonna be closing, so it's just also like a full Asian female lineup, which I haven't seen it before yet.
Yeah,
like,
it really doesn't like Asian visibility is like
yeah, it's just like,
nowhere to be seen.
So it's just
that's
like,
really nice.
So I'm really excited for this. So yeah.
Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, please come.
I will for sure. And I wanted to add, like, we were talking about Asian visibility. I also want to, like, if promoters or DJ girls are seeing me, like, where are the black DJs? Like, really, it's not normal. Like, for me, I only seen Ayrton as a black man, like dark-skinned black man playing. Yeah, it's not normal actually. So please.
Do better.
Do better.
Together.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for today. It's the end of the podcast. We'll come back in 2 months here for the last one, which is going to be about public institutions and how we can integrate safer policies through those institutions and see how, trying to find solutions and stuff about this, and about how institutionalization can affect authenticity So thank you so much everyone for coming, tuning in, listening. I hope you learned some stuff or at least enjoyed the conversation. So see you in 2 months. Bye. This was Safer Hours.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Unos, and thank you, Sasha. It was super interesting. Really loved it.
Thanks.
Thanks.